This channel supports Extra Life in its efforts to raise money for the Children's Miracle Network. For more information about how to donate and join in their efforts, go to the link displayed here. Extra Life. Play games, heal kids. What up, everybody? This is your boy Black Magus and Anthem. So, for those who don't know, I didn't really have that much interest in Anthem, but I got a free rental from RAIDMAX, 3-day rental in fact, and Anthem was available on release weekend, so I decided, you know what the hell, let me go ahead and rent this, check it out, because I want to see what the fuss is, especially since they had this whole big preview week where apparently content creators were blasting the hell out of the game and just like going in. It's hard as fuck. And you know, me being me, I know how hyperbolic the internet can be. So I was like, you know, while it didn't cut an impression on me the more that time went on, I think when it was initially announced, I was kind of like, oh, this looks pretty interesting. But as time went on and information started coming out, I just wasn't that enamored. I was, you know, willing to give it a shot, even though the rest of the internet kind of wanted to basically tell you to stay away, don't touch it, you know, it's horrible, blah, 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 blah. You know, because the internet does that. It's either going to go really, really positive or really, really negative. That's just the way that I've always seen it being. So I was like, what the hell? Let me go ahead and try this shit out. And my impressions of it is it's cool. It's okay. It's not the best thing in the world. Not the worst thing in the world. It's just cool. As I've said to my boy Cardiac Sumo, and we both discussed this with people during our podcast, and I've also said this on my stream. It actually is not anything like Warframe. Like, it looked like Warframe when I was watching it, because I never got into the demos that they had. So when I was watching people play demos, I was like, yo, it looks like it got a Warframe type feel. No, it's actually just a Mass Effect Andromeda feel. Clearly they did not just take the engine that Mass Effect Andromeda was built on to make this. They just utilized all the mechanics they could from there, including the feeling of the guns, the movement. It's funny because when I was flying around, I was like, yo, flight's cool. And then when it hit the hover mode, I was like, yo, that's very, very similar. And then I realized, oh yeah, it's Mass Effect Andromeda. But it's not to say that's a bad thing. I never had an issue with the control scheme or gameplay wise of Mass Effect Andromeda. So take that for how you will. The thing I will say about this game is that it's definitely in that category of it has potential, but it's not necessarily ready. I don't know. There's just things about it that irk me enough to keep me from wanting to actually play this more. The loading screens. I find it very, very weird that there's a lot of loading in this game. That is said to supposed to be seamless. And I'm honestly, the loading may not bother me so much if it wasn't like just static, generic loading. It's not even like they attempted to flesh it out. Generally, you see the same picture during loading, whether it's loading to get the game started, loading to go to a mission, loading leaving a mission, loading in between mission, which is crazy. It's kind of funny because they do the whole like if you're far behind they'll warp your head thing, but I don't think they do it like well because of the loading screen situation. Like I know other games, and apologies people because I'm gonna bring up one particular game that people know that I like, but I haven't played in a while, but that's Destiny. When you're far behind and they want to move your head, they just kind of warp you. There's no real loading screen type thing. where you're just sitting there looking at a static screen. That's kind of lame. Same thing when loading into the missions. When you're in Destiny, you go to the orbit and you're waiting to like fly into your mission, and then they give you a cool animated hyperspace thing that you can look at, and then they show you actually flying into the world and stuff like that. That's cool. All you get is just a bunch of clip art screenshots, and not even of action. It's just gallery art, to be quite honest, that they put up for the loading screen. And it can become quite frustrating because while they don't seem that long, I heard they were much longer in the demo and the earlier early access part of the game, but it still kind of sucks. The guns, like I said, they feel cool, but there's no real weight to your armory, in my opinion. There's like really no reason to go gun hunting right now. I'm only 10 hours in, so maybe as things progress and you open up all the like, bigger and better unlockables, going for a certain gun is like essential, but it doesn't feel like it is. It's just like, just make sure you can put out enough damage per second, and that's about it. It's nothing weirdly unique about the guns. I mean, sure, you have the separate classes, but the gun as an individual is like, there's no reason for me to look for this gun at this point. Like, again, in Destiny, you want to hunt for a thorn, you want to hunt for a last word and do quests and all that stuff. Nothing about the lore of the guns or the guns themselves seem to be attractive in this game. Enemies, they're cool. They, nothing too overly interesting in my opinion, enemy wise, and the lore hasn't really grabbed me, so I don't know. I just feel like right now what you have is that stereotypical thing in this genre of MMO-like shooters where, yeah, the groundwork's got some really, really good, fine components to it. I just need you to smooth out the edges and maybe kick in a little more, and then you'll be perfect. It's like the constant waiting game. And I'm not necessarily trying to say that it should be like standard that a game like this come out with all the content at the ready or everything like that, or even that they all have a like mapped out, detailed like 1 year, 2 year game plan for the whole game. I just wish that they would put these games out on more solid footing. I feel like this genre has had a lot of people fall into the trap of, I'll just put out enough but not a polished product. You know what I mean? This feels like no polish. It's just too rough around the edges. It's like they didn't even attempt to polish to me. But at the same time, there is some enjoyable stuff. It's one of those games where I'm gonna be like most people were with Destiny, like a lot of people were with Warframe, which just recently started to really skyrocket after it came out in 2013. Things like that is to like give them time to like address the problems and then holler back at them once the major issues have been resolved. And this is where that game's headed, and it's kind of scary because EA is not known for their patience with their license. So it's gonna be interesting to see what the lifespan and the evolution of this game, Anthem, is gonna be. And it has solid components. The flying's cool. The gameplay feels cool, but I think the biggest problem with this game is just depth, and I'm not talking about in content alone. It's just there's no deep connection that I get from it right now, other than it's cool to waste some time on. So it is what it is. That's just my opinion. You guys, please sound off and let me know what you think. So as always, hit me up. Let me know what you think. Yes, I'm redundant in saying that again, but this is your boy Black Magus, and I'm out. Deuces.